Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. Okay, so I just did one. I'm going to try to do a different one just because. Sorry, there's a lovely little animal at the foot of the camera stand right now. Bustling around. Okay, are we good? All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's about to happen. How about that? Some suppression coming up. So for so long, I'm not going to put a timeline on it because it's, it's going to feel overwhelming, I think, if I put a timeline on it. So step out of that time space continuum for a second and just be here in the moment. Just be here in the moment. Right here. Okay, so the suppression has happened for however fucking long. Blah, 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 blah. The aspects in which it has penetrated is every aspect of life. They've had to. If you leave one aspect untouched by suppression, and suppression, everything's been suppressed. What is suppression? The negation, the omission, the deflection of truth. So, okay. Now this is gonna piss some of y'all. That's fine. What is truth? Not subjective. It is not. Truth is not subjective. Your perspective is subjective. Truth is nature. Truth is nature. So if you ignore nature, you're ignoring the truth. You ignore your nature, you're ignoring the truth. Now, those things are subject for change and up for voting on however the hell they're being perceived. However, truth, nature, one thing. That upsets me. I hear ya. Go out and garden. You want to learn the truth about life, build a garden from seed. So, now that we know what truth is, we know the suppression of it, okay? And so when we have that little key that turns the entire door to the freaking universe, and that's what it is, rarely do we need anything else. So let's look at nature. We are nature. We're not an aspect of nature. We're not a tittle-tattle of nature on the web. We are nature. Nature. Okay. And that thing right there in the center of your eye hole is called a black hole. It is the void, darling, in which absorbs all and everything you pay witness to. Right. Can't imagine why they'd need to make something so intimate terrible. Horrible, awful, scary, torturous. Let us all run in fear from what looks at us every single day in the mirror. Okay, so write your avoid some poetry. I come to think of all those dark poetic writers as like, they must have known. They had to have. Anyway. Bitch to be alive and not being able to say that. Damn. Okay. So although I've had to do the same thing. Anyway, so suppression of nature. Suppression of truth. Okay. Let's bring this into the 3D. All right, I'm coming. Zzz. Okay. So when we have the notion that we are disconnected from nature. We are not nature. We're above nature. We're the masters of nature. But it's a really bad place to be. Oh, there's a book for that. It's called The Arrogant Ape. That's a really good book. Excuse me. Pardon me, I must move my mugwort. Okay. Oh my god. I'm a witchy type. Witchy something. Okay. This book is free. Oh, I hate that it's backwards. Everything is getting righted. Okay, so The Arrogant Ape. Ooh, it's a good book. However, I do, knowing what I know about the human existence, I don't advocate that we all go vegan. Some of us need meat. I don't like the cookie cutter narrative of we must all do this, we must all do that. No, our bodies have different needs. So if you're pregnant, looking to get pregnant, you probably need to start consuming some meat products. If you are, and I'm going to get screamed at, you can get those from plants! That's another video. Not today. Not today. Jesus. So, when we have the suppression of nature, right? One thing that we can say suppression is a lie. So you're not only omitting the truth, but you're lying about what the truth might actually be. So when we are in our buzz, little bumblebee life, we're going to start looking at the things we're consuming with these lovely little. Third kidney is the skin. Yes, it matters what you put on your skin. It matters what you put on your hair. It matters, it matters, it matters, it matters, it matters. So, we can start looking through the chemicals in our everyday life. So, what's in your hand lotion? What's in your body lotion? Or oil? Or whatever the heck it is. Right? Whatever. Okay? So shampoo, conditioner, body wash, lotion, facial, whatever the heck concoctions you throw on it. The detergent in for your clothes that touch your body and your sheets that touch your body at night. The blankets that touch your body. Everything that touches you has to be vetted out for chemicals. Then you've got dish soap. Yep, that leaves a residue. So you got to make sure that whatever is left on there is not going to chisel away at your innards as you eat off of it. What else? Chemical cleaning products on the floor. If you got critters or bare feet, that's getting absorbed through the skin. I know I don't want to hear any dermatologist saying it only gets so deep. So, what else? Ooh, let's talk about the $10 billion lawn chemical that doesn't do any harm because glyphosate is perfectly safe. I don't know what you're talking about. I know, but if you took your Nazi white coat finger and flipped that dumb bitch of a bottle around and did your human homework and Googled each one of those ingredients, when you found the right one, I guarantee you gonna knows it. So when we have this incapacity to do our own human homework, that's when we abandon ourselves. That's when we become irresponsible because we are not responding to hey, there was a $10 billion lawsuit for all these people and their surviving family members who lost them. We might want to look. And it's not just Bayer, Monsanto, Roundup products. It's all weed killers that have it in it. And there's one brand that just sells it in the bottle. Am I going to tell you what it is? No, because if you use the product, I want you to go look it up rather than just say, oh, this lady online said blah, 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 but she was blah, 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 blah. So rather than let you talk yourself out of believing me, I'm going to let you find out for yourself. I'm going to make you do the human homework. Okay? So that's that's how you do that. You know, you're not going to get anywhere if somebody else hands you the keys to your own Firebird. You got to do the work. Okay? So, or at least you might get a little somewhere, but you were going 150 and crashed into a tree, and that's not going to do any good either. So, autonomy is sovereign. Okay? I'm not a guru. I'm just shining a light and going, hey, did we maybe want to look at that? Just go ahead. You know, if you don't want to look at it, don't look at it. Totally your choice. Okay. So back to suppression. So we suppressed that. We glazed over that somehow. Leave it to the white coats, right? So the gain zero function. That's science that was suppressed. So if you couldn't, like, just for just a split second go, why are they in a lab trying to complicate humanity more than it already is? Why are they doing that? If that did not just break you, probably need to start going through those chemical products in your house and start detoxing, because that's what it does. Is it numbs your system. It blanks you out. It makes you not care anymore. And yes, you don't need to be on prescription medication to be detoxifying the crap out of your system so you don't care anymore. You just need some really crappy household cleaners and some Roundup and some nasty toxic food that tastes so freaking good. It's delicioso, and you're just like, I'm gonna shovel it in like it's no tomorrow. That's the stuff that makes you not want to care. That's the stuff that's like, fuck it, I'm done. I don't have the fucking time, energy, and I get you. Well, look at the whole medical industry. If you want to get healthcare, you got to dedicate a large chunk of your time to being on the phone with an insurance company that's not getting paid to help you. It's getting paid to, like, parasite your bank account. So if the doctor's not going to prescribe the drugs that the insurance company is making money off of, yeah, they're not going to help you. If it's going to help you in any way, shape, or form, the insurance company is not going to pay for it. Because if they can't parasite off of you twice, they just feel really bad about themselves. And, you know, we don't want to hurt their feelings. So we're going to let them parasite off our bank account while not covering Jack Diddley Squat, and then making you pay extra for, you know, that was a specialist that we didn't approve. So you got to pay extra for that particular visit. Okay. So suppression. I mean, it's not really suppressed. Nobody's talking about it because they're, again, and then that freaking goes into the, okay, now I'm struggling to keep food on the table, my family, in a house, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is massive, massive dysfunction. And it's because we didn't speak up, because we've been poisoned in every aspect of life to believe that the people who put us in the exact predicament we're in are helping us, and that we need their help, and that we have to beg, plead, and borrow, and whatever the heck else for people's help. That And those people have been trained to believe that they are helping. Those people are being trained and propagated into believing that they are doing a lot of service by providing healthcare that's so stressful and traumatic that yeah, it's pretty, it's, you know, when your whole system is based off trauma, and that's Western medicine, you're not gonna get a whole lot of success rates. You're gonna get a whole lot of, well, this person is now chained to the system for the rest of their lives because they're on this medication that's literally keeping them alive. So I, oof, that's a story for another day. Okay, back to suppression. Now we have local communities that don't clean the water, suppression. So when you have all these people on these lovely medications going to the bathroom in our water system, the water, the, the people you pay money to clean the water don't do that. They don't take the chemicals out. So this is why people drink bottled water, because they know what's in the tap water. And we can complain about the plastic, but the plastic's going to be there irregardless because there's a massive oil industry. So the plastic is already readily supplied. We just have to make sure that it's given to us in a less toxic form. Don't let your water bottles sit in a hot car. Keep them in the basement, away from sunlight, blah, 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 blah. Or just keep them in a pantry outside of the, a cupboard somewhere outside of sunlight so it's not heating and warming up. Sorry, my lovely little beast is roaming around with his yummy chicken bone. Anyway, so when we remember all of this about the environment and what's happening to it, and we can be responsive to it and then make different choices, detoxify the system, allow ourselves to start caring about what's happening, this is what's going to move it forward. It's not high vibing. So because it creates this narrative that there's low vibing people and that they deserve less. They're not coming with to New Earth. So it's perpetuating a narrative that's going to vet a lot of people off the planet. So I've yes, hold joy while you are in pain. Abso-fucking-lutely. Make space for joy in your life. I'm not saying not to do that. I'm not saying to get lost in the freaking depths of the crap collective that's happening right now. I am not saying that at all. I am saying you need to honor the nature of it. Otherwise, you're not going to learn anything from it. And the new earth will just be a repeat of what we've had to go through for what I'm not going to give you a timeline for. So when we remember the suppression, okay, we remember the truth, which is nature. So we need to honor the truth and we need to honor nature. Okay. So if we are not honoring nature, we're not honoring the truth. And if we can't educate ourselves on how nature conducts itself. And I'm not talking about the birds and the bees. I'm talking about how things grow from seed, how we function in the world, how we perceive, how we interact with our environment, how our environment creates ourselves. Dun, dun, dun. Darwin's going to have to suck a lot of bags of dirty ones. And my dog cannot pick a spot. Sorry. Babe, are you okay? He just... I gave him a bone before I hit play, and he's like, where do I want to go with it? Okay, I think he's settled. All right. So, the suppression of nature and how we're going to get to a space where we're not doing that anymore. So, that entails a lot of, I wouldn't say diligence, it's just awareness. So, okay, back to the environment. Everything in your environment creates a cell. And I'm pretty sure I left that one upstairs. Yeah. So the Extracellular Matrix by Matthew Wood. I know I left it upstairs. Dang. Okay. Sorry. It would be backwards anyway. It's a pretty green cover. Anyway, so when we can remember what's going on in our environment, treat our environment good, clean it up, detoxify the blah, 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 clean the air in the environment, because it's not just like in the cleaners and whatnot. It's on the furniture. It's in everything. In the cat bed, probably. Oh, Lord. So just clean up the air. Want to know what they're doing to the air? Go to jimlee.com. I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to. That's a different day. I'm talking about what we're suppressing, what we're upkeeping, and what we're allowing to happen to us, and how to clean it up. So the suppression of the truth, and how we take the power back, how we can start being more sovereign as human beings here on earth. Because what we put out into the ethos, which is what we've been putting out into the ethos, which was totally authoritarian, hence why we find ourselves in these predicaments that we find ourselves in. Yes, give all the authorities, all the responsibilities, all the things go to the authorities, and now they have all the things and all the authority and whatever else. Okay, so unfortunately, the only reason why a billionaire would need to be a billionaire is to pay a lot of people to be quiet. So, now, back to the environment. When we have someplace where we can feel safe, someplace we feel like we can breathe in the air, we can take in the lovely little energies floating around, blah, 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 little fairy lights around the dark goddess, blah, 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 whatever it is, okay? We're taking in those energies, and, then you've got, like, Shasta Opal going on, little Spitfire. The idea that these things don't matter is a suppression of nature, because those are nature. We didn't get sacred geometries out of straight air or the cosmos. We got it out of crystal formations or stone formations, rock formations, whatever you want to call it. That's where we got sacred geometry. We didn't just like, ooh, some genius created this. No, it's right in this little thing right here. So, and if you have anyone in your environment that's like, I don't like crystals. Crystals are stupid. They're lame. May I have your phone, please? Because there's a little crystal that's connecting you to the World Wide Web. And the entire beautiful thing that you're staring at right now is liquid crystalline. So, when we have this notion that nature is negated, it doesn't matter, it's piles of blah, 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 like 90% junk DNA. So, when we can connect back into that, when we can start sourcing ourselves as a connect to nature, rather than having to use authorities, right? We can begin to conduct. We can begin to be sovereign. We can begin to be a source of our own sovereign will. And this is what the people at the top are afraid of. It's just, the general population becoming more aware of things and taking their own power back for their own selves. Now, is every single solitary person on the planet going to be responsible with that? In order to get to that space, you already have to be pretty responsible. That's where people get really deluded when we're talking about, what do they call it? Oh yeah, like spell work or witchcraft or whatever else. People don't really like get it up here. Like, if you're gonna wield that, you really do have to be responsible, because nobody seems for all these energy workers out there, very few actually like walk themselves through the cyclical patterns that they're putting out before they put it out. So the find out season is going to be spectacular for those people. And that's okay. That's their path. They have to figure it out that way. Let them. So when we have this notion that the higher ups know better than we do, even though they can't find a fucking location on the map to save their lives, because I don't like that we use the color orange to describe that man. But whatever his face was, this meat puppet in our office decided to change the Gulf of Mexico. And someone told me that and I didn't believe it. And I got on Google Maps and I'm like, so that was naughty. And that was not appropriate. And probably why the people couldn't find the particular location that they were looking for. Anyway. So the idea, right, that we are not going to be responsible with this type of power, we just need to look no further than the institutions that we've given power to, which is the corporations that are actively, systematically poisoning us and patting themselves on the back for a good quarterly roundup, which is going to bite the dust because they're hell-bent on making people poor again. Hoarding all the wealth before the power goes away. Yada, 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 yada. So, this sovereignty comes from responsibility. And responsibility comes from responding accordingly, responding with maturity, responding with a foresight in mind. Not my hair is on fire and now I'm gonna go do this thing. Not gonna get you very far. It'll get you a lesson though. It'll get you a real good lesson. I tell you what, I've had a few myself. So if you can, for a moment, just take in everything that's around you, honor those energies, and say, okay, what's not honoring me? What's not helping me be more responsible? And just start gently removing those energetic patterns, those energetic thoughts, those energetic whatchamacallits. Just start removing them from your environment. That's the way to detox from suppression. Okay, and then you've got the global thing that's gonna bust wide open as far as the timeline I referred to at the beginning of the video. We do not have anything correct at all. So that's gonna blow too. Yay, yippee skippy. But that's a topic for another day. So suppression of the truth is just nature being ignored on purpose, so that way people can have their manipulative ways out in society. Okay, so that's going to need to settle in and make some sense. So I'll leave you with that today. And I love you. And until next time, keep your flame.